Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody's week is off to a good start. Nice day here in South Alabama. Cool this morning, good sleeping last night, but a little bit warmer today. Might have to actually get out and get in this sunshine in a little while. Go down to the park where I like to hang out. Anyhow, today I want to talk about, is the raw vegan lifestyle expensive? And here may be why. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you go down there and hit that big red subscribe button. Then you need to go click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. The raw vegan lifestyle is expensive. I always hear this. I did a search before I even got on here to do this video, and tons and tons and tons of videos coming up about the raw vegan lifestyle being expensive. Well, like most things in life, that's relative. That's relative to how you do it. Well, it is relative to where you live, which sometimes you may not have as much control over that aspect of it, but it's really kind of one of those barriers. It's really kind of an excuse. I think mostly when people tap out, it's a good one to throw out there. But here's maybe why, and here's some thoughts you might find helpful in doing this lifestyle and making it less expensive. Number one, and I noticed this just even for a couple of little things I made, I noticed that the whole raw vegan world is just obsessed, plant-based, about recipes. If I could go a 24-hour period without even hearing the word recipe, I would be happy. I mean, you know, it's like I don't even really do recipes all that much. But every once in a while I do like to make something. But that's what, listen, if you're making recipes every damn day, depending on what they are, unless they're the simplest of the simplest, that's jacking up the money right there. Like, for instance, I mean, and this is just my little peculiar things, and I use them, you know, I make my decisions. But like here, red peppers. Red bell peppers are about $1.75. Sometimes I can find them cheaper, but like I get a couple of little things like that. I noticed one night I was going to make something and I had the bulk of the meal was super cheap, but I had something like 3 ingredients that went in there that just those 3 ingredients like upped it about $6 or $7. So, you know, put a little planning into your lifestyle. That's why I like the bananas as a base. You know, I get a lot of my calories from bananas because most places somebody's living in a place where bananas are expensive. So I can never say always, but every story I've ever heard, everywhere I've ever been, bananas are at least the cheaper of the fruits where you go. So that's why I knock out all my calories, or most of my calories, with bananas. Or I shouldn't say most of them, but that is kind of a bulk that keeps my calories up. But yeah, sometimes I start, and that's why I don't make more recipes than I do, and that's why I do budget certain things, is because I'll start making a recipe and I just start, that's expensive, that's expensive, and those ingredients jack things up. So, you know, maybe there's a little method to my madness. That's why I do default to just smoothies a lot and ice cream a lot and just eating mono meals and just eating fruits and simple salads. Although I'm not really on a salad kick right now. Everybody wants to know about salad. Why don't I eat salad? Are you eating salad? How much salad do you eat? I don't get a lot of good greens around here. I don't get a lot of good lettuce, and some of the things that I like to make my dressings with, not getting great mangoes right now. The aforementioned peppers are a little bit expensive. So yeah, but those ingredients will definitely add up in the recipe. So, you know, if you're on a budget, try to economize, and you can sit down and play with this a little bit. You might even be able to think up something, alternatives, for some of your more expensive ingredients, or you might even figure that, I do that a lot. I'm like, that one ingredient ain't gonna change it all that much, and I'll leave it out. So yeah, you know, just do what you need to do. Another big reason, big reason, and it can also kind of come into this too, is trying to do this lifestyle perfect. Trying to be too perfect will trip you up. And one of the biggest ways it'll trip you up is being, I mean, sometimes you have to cut a corner, sacrifices have to be made, you have to decide, what your priorities are, and sometimes you just have to make the best out of a situation. Um, People being so adamant that they have to be 100% raw when they're maybe in an area that is not all that economical to be 100% raw. That's why I'm always trying to talk about the sweet potatoes of eating cooked food. Sweet potatoes are very cheap, they're good for you, and like I say, from my personal experience of eating mostly raw but eating some cooked from time to time, the orange, whatever you want to call them, sweet potatoes, to me are the closest to staying on raw food as far as my body feels and how I process that, how I digest that. So maybe you find some areas where you have to make some substitutions with cooked food to do what you got to do. I don't care. Listen, I try to throw you some ideas out there, even if you are trying to be 100% raw as law. But I always need to mention this because somebody will miss it or it's their first video. I'm not raw as law. I'll eat cooked food. I eat cooked food here more than I did in Costa Rica. It's all dependent on where I am. When Lord Greystoke gets back to the jungle, the cooks will probably disappear again because I don't need to cook. But anyway, in a lot of different areas, trying to be perfect. Let's be real too, and I get this one a lot as well. I'd love to eat 100% organic. I would love to eat organic. Well, my thing is number one, I don't have options for organic around here. But some people obsess over that so much. Listen, you got to pay to play. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. We do the best that we can do. So once again, when you're trying to be perfect, when you're trying to do everything you see other people doing out there that are the professionals, that are the experts in this, you have a little bit of envy. I got to do this, and I saw this nice gadget. And the gadgets will take your money too if you just start buying gadgets. Now there's some good gadgets. I don't discourage you from doing that. In fact, I'm going to give you a different way of looking at that. Even what's the one that's really expensive? The Vitamix. Everybody talks about, well, I can't spend this for the Vitamix. I can't spend that. Well, how raw are you? Is this raw vegan lifestyle is it a phase you're going through? Is it something you're going to do for a little while? Or is it going to be a permanent thing in your life? Because if you start thinking of it like that, have you ever been to, I won't even call them a foodie. Have you ever been to people's kitchens that are just really into cooking? They like to cook a lot. They got a damn gadget for everything. They got a damn bread maker, a pasta maker, a pot for everything, a special little tool for everything. So, how much stuff did you have in the cooked world? I imagine in your house you got a big old stove sitting in there. You probably got a microwave sitting in there. How much stuff do you have before you came to this lifestyle devoted to kitchen, cooking, and preparing food? That's all I'm saying right there. You don't have to have all the gadgets, but then again, like I say, if you're going to do this the rest of your life, that Vitamix is not that big an investment. If you physically don't have the money, I understand that. Once again, like that saying I like to do, you got to do what you got to do. But also too, you can do little tricks. I'm going to teach you a trick right here, a workaround on the Vitamix, a little bit. It's not going to, a lot of things are not going to be the same texture, but as long as you get yourself, I should become a spokesperson for this. Get yourself a $35 or whatever it costs where you are Black & Decker food processor. This will do a lot of the heavy stuff. You can make a lot of stuff in there, including the nice cream, which I make much better in my food processor than I do my Vitamix. And there's a number of other things. So with that one little $35 gadget, you can go with a cheapo blender. You could go with a $35 blender, or you get some a little bit more high speed, but not quite as fancy. Get yourself a NutriBullet or something. But little tricks. What can you use? What can you use to fill in? How can you cut here? What are your priorities, Like I say, we're all just trying to do the best that we can. This isn't like a game or something where you get points and shit. You're talking about your health. You're talking about making the best choices possible in the moment. You're talking about making the best choices to put into your body, your machine. So, don't get caught up on all the I know it is a lifestyle, but the lifestyle is, there's some connotations for me around that, which means all this babbling, becoming part of this babbling cult-like community sometime that just like basically sits around and talks about raw food all the time. I was talking with a good friend of mine this weekend, and I'm like, why do they want to just sit around and talk about raw food? That's a very, very narrow. It's almost like the people that are talking just to that hardcore raw market, they're preaching to the choir. These people they're already living plant-based lives. I'm trying to reach out to as many people, as wide an audience as possible. I can help you if you're fully raw. I can help you if you're not raw at all, but I'm not stuck up on the labels, and I'm not going, you don't ever have to be tiptoeing in to tell me you're eating cooked food. Everything in life comes down to making the best choices that we have available to us. So listen, that's a lame one unless you're in somewhere. There are some cities in the world that are ridiculously expensive, but I would say if you put a little effort into it, a little thought, a little planning, you could do a very high raw pretty much wherever you are. Just don't put the pressure on yourself that you got to go all the way. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.